to live jewellery, to sleep jewellery, to dream jewellery. You've got to wake up in the morning and say, let me call Hong Kong, they're up now, and let's see what is going on there, and wait till they call you from New York.
So you have to be 100% committed.
Exactly.
And then if you're committed, how do you build your business? Do you think now people should have stores?
Very few will survive.
So what should they do?
Do something else.
I'm Carol Woolton, the voice of Jewellery. Welcome to If Jewels Could Talk. I'm an author and broadcaster, and the woman who initiated the role of jewellery editor at magazines like Tatler and Vogue. This is a podcast for everyone, for people who do like jewellery, for people who don't realise they like jewellery, and anyone intrigued by fascinating facts, new ideas and forgotten histories. So join me as I tell sparkly tales and meet all sorts of people, delving into 4 centuries of jewellery culture and investigate what's happening now. I've just been whisked via a brass-framed elevator into the VIP Art Deco client room at the 160-year-old House of Moussaieff. This has been the home of the family jewellers on Bond Street since 2006, and they've just recently opened a new store at the brand new Peninsula Hotel in London on Hyde Park Corner. And I'm here to meet the legend that is Mrs. Moussaieff, who's been steering the family multi-million-dollar jewellery enterprise, specialising in exceptionally rare and precious stones since the retirement of her husband. I've written before in Vogue, no one knows the full extent of the Moussaieff hoard, amassing an unfathomable trove of natural pearls, every shade of diamond on the spectrum and beyond, as well as the trays of the finest gemstones in show-stopping sizes. The volume and variety of their spectacular jewels includes some of the world's rarest gems, and they've been catering to the wealthy celebrities and royal families from what is widely believed to be one of the best inventories in the world. And Mrs. M, as the trade calls her, is notoriously private, so I couldn't be more delighted that she's chosen to speak with us today.
Thank you, Mrs. Moussaieff, for having me today.
It's a great pleasure.
And where are you happiest? Are you happiest in Bond Street or in the Hilton on the Park Lane?
I would say the Hilton was obviously the first place here in London where we settled, and it was a great experience. Unfortunately, the sell-by date of the Hilton is there. The Hilton before was the best hotel in London.
This was in 1963 when you first went there.
The Hilton opened in 1963. We opened with it, and we got in the flow of Arabs, Americans, Indians, the lot.
They all came to the Hilton.
They all came to the Hilton, so we were very lucky to get some of the best families, jewellery buyers.
But you're still happily there.
I'm still there. It's a bit of sentiment and a bit of business because we still have our regular clients back from years. Their children or grandchildren come there.
Really?
Yes.
Because they just expect you to be there.
Yes. And I do go there when somebody asks me to come.
So was that where Elizabeth Taylor used to come and see you? Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, did they come there?
Well, Elizabeth Taylor did not come, Richard Burton didn't come, but my husband went to see Elizabeth in the Dorchester, where he sold her some jewellery.
Yes, because she was always stayed at the Dorchester.
Yes.
So you took the jewels to her?
Yes.
So she could just play jewellery for a while?
Exactly.
And what did she like from you particularly?
Well, she loved an emerald bracelet which she bought, and there was an episode with my husband that she requested him to come around midnight, which is quite usual for celebrities to request jewellery. And
at midnight?
Exactly. Well, not only Elizabeth Taylor, but we had many clients where we had to wait at the Hilton late into the night till they appeared.
Really?
Yes.
So it's just on their schedule?
Exactly. And then they never came, there was never any morning activity clients-wise. The morning liquidity was in order to put the stuff together, to put the jewellery together, to see stones, to see designs. The selling started in the late afternoon.
So
That
interesting.
was the
isn't
time
it?
of the Hilton.
So that's how your days went.
Yes.
And your husband had a very long jewellery history, didn't he? His family were traders and they traced their ancestry back to the 12th century.
Well, I don't want to exaggerate, but a very long time. They were in Bukhara, they were on the Silk Road, and they went to the Gulf, the Middle Eastern Gulf, what today is called the Emirates.
To get natural pearls.
To get natural pearls.
So they started off pearl dealing.
They started off with natural pearls, and then they started to get emeralds from India.
So precious stones was in his blood and in his bloodline.
Exactly.
And when did it spark in you? Was that when you married, or had you had a love of jewellery before?
No, I got married when I was 18, and that's when I was dumped into a jewellery bank.
So you learnt fast.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did he teach you? Did he show you? And did you learn from him?
Yes, I definitely learned from my husband all my life because he was extremely knowledgeable, and he was knowledgeable without formal education. Today everybody has got to have a degree from the GIA. This didn't exist in the olden days. You worked on what you saw and what you felt.
And experience, because you can compare what you've seen.
Of course, experience, exactly.
When I talk to other people, they always say you have to have seen the best of the best to know what it is.
You have to compare all the time to know what is better.
So it is just that building up of every time you bought and built the inventory, you would learn more.
Exactly. And also, whenever you hear of something is for sale, whether you're in the market or not, you've got to go and look at it. Then once it's in your mind, you know that this is what you're going to compare it in your mind in the future.
So you have to remember.
Exactly.
You have to have that memory bank.
Indeed, yes.
Which is quite hard. That is quite hard.
Yes, but you see, it comes easily because that's what you like doing. It's not that you want to have to remember figures, because that is secondary. First of all, you've got to remember the shape, the size, the quality, the colour.
And were there stones that you were more naturally drawn to? I mean, were there Milo pearls or different coloured diamonds or different spinels? Anything that really captured your imagination?
Well, it wasn't the spinels because we didn't get a chance at the time to see many spinels, but it was always emeralds, rubies, and coloured diamonds came later, much later. Coloured diamonds started when the Argyle Mile opened, and we started to pick up everything Argyle sold.
All the pink and blue, or mainly pink?
More pink and less. There was some blue.
But mainly pink.
Many pink.
So really, for you, it was very strong colours. Emerald, ruby, pink diamonds, very strong colours.
Yes. You can also include sapphires and a lot.
And sapphires.
You can throw them in.
And the pearls, did you keep loving the pearls?
Yes. But the pearls were rarer and rarer.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't appear anymore. This century, nothing new came up. Before, there was still the Maharajas sold, and there were some European families which sold. Now there's absolutely nothing of high quality.
Because the ones that they're diving for now, you can't compare. The quality's gone.
The size and the quality is all gone.
Such a shame, isn't it?
Well, that's life.
When you're looking to buy a stone or a pearl, what's in your head? You obviously have this memory bank to compare it to other exceptional things you've seen, but what is it that you're after? Because I read somewhere that you said a stone must have charm.
Exactly.
And I wondered what charm was. This isn't obviously a technical term that I hear much.
So let me correct you. You're never looking to go and find the stone, because if you look, you won't find it. You've got to grab it when it comes.
So people are bringing them to you, but you're going running around the world looking
Exactly.
at things.
But you've got to do the auctions, you've got to have your ears open to whatever there is, and you also look at dealers.
So you've got your ear to the ground, you hear what...
Exactly. You've got to be there at the right place at the right time and have the cash available to get it.
And do you have a checklist in your head of what you're looking for? Size, quality, colour. And what is this charm? How do you describe charm?
I don't think I can describe charm. You've got to feel it. It's got to talk to you. If it doesn't talk to you, leave it.
And you know if it talks to you, it will talk to one of your clients.
Yes. And there are some clients who've got this feeling and want to buy these charming stones. And there are some clients who go for the certificate only, which is a great shame.
So by that, they're just wanting flawless or VVVVS.
Exactly. They want a certificate, yes.
But presumably everything comes with a certificate anyway.
No, the certificate comes in surplus of the charm.
Okay. Charm first.
But you can have
It's
a
the
certificate.
5th C. You heard it here first. It's cut, clarity, carat weight, colour, and charm. It's the 5th C. But you think the most important one.
I put the charm first.
Yeah. Can you say what one of the most startling stones you've seen, one of the most beautiful that you've seen?
There were so many.
So many.
There were so many.
Too many. Is there one gem? I mean, out of the rubies, emeralds, sapphires, coloured stones, what do you prefer? You're also quite famous for not wearing jewellery. But should you have jewellery, today I can tell you, everybody, she has no jewellery on. There's unbelievable things she could wear and has chosen not to wear them.
Well, some jewellers sell what they wear. I wouldn't. If I wear it, it's not for sale.
It's yours.
Exactly.
So you just don't need to sell it in that way. You think other people...
Exactly, no.
But you don't want to wear it just because it makes you feel nice?
I'll tell you, it makes me feel very nice, but once I wear it, I know I'll never sell it.
I see. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's that.
And then I will only want to wear the very, very best. Should I want not to? Well, I would say it's not for sale, definitely.
And your collection would get too big.
Exactly.
But if you did, would it be something green, blue, pink?
They're all my babies.
So when I've seen you wearing these brooches, which are large, and they're made in titanium to make them very light, do you also have sort of checklists that you go through when you're creating a jewel? What do you think makes a design successful?
Well, you've got to have the stones first to make it successful. Once you have a collection of stones which you can marry together, then you can think about the design.
And then the way you put them together, is there any technique that you follow that you know people like that will make it a design that appeals to people?
Well, you're talking here about sellability, and it's a correct thing. There is a time when there is the abstract design, which is interesting for some people. It's the flowery design, which is interesting. I would say flowers are still interesting. There was a time when people wanted animals. I don't know if you were not around at the time. I looked at some old Kuczynski brooches, tiny ones.
Yes.
They were all little animals.
What was interesting is I saw Loewe literally have just had a press morning and have showed their new collection, and it included little golden wired animals on pendants, like little poodles, little frogs, little dogs.
Exactly. But it was very, very fashionable.
It was. And Van Cleef did a lot, didn't they?
Yes.
And you think that fashion's gone now? But Loewe are trying to bring it back.
But it needs a lot of creativity because an animal is something alive, so it's very difficult to create something to look alive.
And flowers never go out of fashion, do they?
No, they always are in fashion.
And when you're designing, do you prefer, in the process, do you prefer the buying and looking for stones or the designing? Which do you really love doing?
Well, you have to have it first. I'm coming back to what we said before. You need to have the stones first. So, of course, this is the first love. But then you've got them on the table, you throw them on the table, and you combine them on the table before it gets put into design and in a definite form. It gets to, first of all, into an abstract form. And then you refine, you cut, you add, to give it volume.
And you do that primarily in the morning before the sales start?
Even now, I like to come in the morning when I and look at the stones.
I guess you need the light as well, do you?
Yes.
And that has to be natural light or
I
electrical?
walk here to the window. Well, before I used to look only at the Hilton, but here I have plenty of natural light.
When we talked about fashions and the flower always being in fashion, how much does that affect the market in precious stones?
For me, not at all. Flowers for me is very much a sideline, beautiful sideline, but our market is more either the market buying for occasions like weddings, or mostly for weddings, or the other market just buying for investment. So the flowers for me is just a pleasure.
So the big stones for weddings, in which continent would they be? Would they be in the Middle East or India? Are they weddings here in London?
We don't cater so much for the weddings in London, unfortunately, because there are other people much better placed for that. The Middle East and India, definitely.
Well, they have such joyous weddings, don't they?
Yes.
And they need a lot of jewellery.
Yes.
Whereas here, our brides have a pearl earring, if that, sometimes. It's not quite so.
Well, it maybe changes a bit.
And a tiara, possibly. Yeah. Do you still make tiaras for brides?
Well, we made one or two tiaras. It's not a great seller.
Everyone loves to think that tiaras come back, but they don't really, do they?
Well, maybe royalty wear the rings. Depends.
Yes, royalty. But I suppose when some stones, in fashion terms, have been disregarded in the past, and then they're suddenly brought back into the public eye and the public want them, sort of like cognac-coloured diamonds and things like that.
Well, the cognac diamonds came back into fashion 2 or 3 years ago, and they're flourishing because the price is more affordable.
So that's why people like them. They can get a bigger look for less money.
Exactly. And they sparkle, especially if you have them with a bit of orange. Dark, very dark orange cognac is not as desirable as the orangey one.
And I suppose that's easy, makes it easy for your design to pick out other colours that come through.
Well, you can match all sorts of colours with yellows, darker yellows, lighter yellows.
Do you like the matching of the colours? Do you like a...
I love it.
You like it?
I love it, yes.
So it gives it a more powerful look.
Exactly.
I think that you've been slightly ahead of the game, haven't you? Because you've amassed a lot of stones over the years. So if things come back into fashion, you have a store of them, don't you?
Not of all of this. Nothing ever lasts. I've been using them for a few years now, but I still have some.
And what about the blue diamonds? Because you've gone through a period of buying a lot of blue diamonds, haven't you? And at record-breaking prices.
Well, they never went down, even now that the market is a bit weaker and people say it won't fetch the prices. The gems do fetch the prices.
Was it a 5.16 carat blue that was part of the De Beers Millennium collection, and that sold for 49.9 million Hong Kong dollars at an auction, Sotheby's auction in Hong Kong. So it was 1.24 million per carat. And you were quoted at the time as saying it was a bargain.
It was a bargain because today it would have been that sort of quality, 2.5, conservatively, $2,500,000 a carat.
So that's how much blue diamonds have risen in price?
No, not all blue diamonds.
Not all.
Only special ones.
Special ones.
Don't forget, so for every 100,000 diamonds, you may get a blue one.
And then to find an exceptional one is even rarer.
Exactly.
But it does seem, as you said, that some people are buying for investment, that these rare coloured diamonds keep rising in value.
Up to now, they kept rising in value. Maybe 1 year ago, the rise stopped. It's leveled, and we'll see how we go in the future. But I believe they can only rise because it's supply and demand. There is demand and no supply. And every year there are more billionaires
who want something
can afford, and do people suddenly become more sophisticated and get the knowledge they want to have something special.
How do you think they get the knowledge? Do they get it from you, from reading, from...
Well, I suppose today when there's every attainable on this thing, on your phone, you read a lot more than people used to read before. You follow more all the auction results.
Do you ever have clients who come to you and say, I want to start collecting?
Yes.
And they ask your advice?
Yes. Yes, definitely.
And what do you tell them?
Well, I tell them that if you look for an increase in value, then don't start. You have first of all to like the item, to love the item, and to be prepared to hang on to it. There's always a chance that the market can drop, so if you can't afford it, don't buy it. Caution is the first.
I suppose that is good advice for any rare objects in the art world or any other sector.
Exactly.
Because every market can drop. But as you said, it just seems so unlikely for these sort of stones right now because the earth doesn't throw them up.
It's not only the earth doesn't turn up, and privately people somehow don't sell because before it constituted a large part of their fortune. Today, the figures have changed so much that people can pass it on to their children. Then the sentiment comes into it.
But if we're talking about rare stones, we have to talk about your red diamond.
Well, it still is the largest ever certified.
Red diamond in the world, which is 5.11 carats.
Exactly.
And when did you first buy that one?
I don't remember the year exactly. There has been a lot of talk in the trade that Goldberg had the diamond as it was. But as a matter of fact, I think, but that's years and years ago, that we knew about the rough before. But then we did buy it from the Goldberg family.
And so where had it been discovered?
Brazil.
In Brazil.
Yes.
And this is the rarest. If you did a sort of colour chart of diamonds, red is at the very top, isn't it?
Well, there's nothing rarer than the red at the moment. You can figure orange is rare, green is rare, but red is still the rarest. In this size, I mean, you can find reds, small reds, as much as you want.
And it's been exhibited at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington.
Yes.
And it is amazing.
It is.
I think some people have the idea that it would be huge, and
It's not.
and it's not. It is just this.
It's not.
Have you ever worn it? No.
No.
Would you ever sell it?
Maybe.
And what would you estimate, do you think it would be?
No figure in mind.
So I wanted to talk to you a little about the changes that you've seen in the industry over the years. Because as you say, from the time of learning the business with your husband aged 18, and then coming to open up the store in the Hilton at a time when London was quite different, to now on Bond Street when it's just full of fashion brands who all want to be in the jewellery sector. I thought you've spanned that period and you must have seen huge changes.
Well, the changes is that there is more money about. That's one of the changes, because before the buying was, for me, more for occasions only, and now there's quite a bit, apart from the occasional buying and the investment buying, there's also the fun buying. People want to wear something nice.
So people kind of are buying for the same sorts of reasons, but operating within the jewellery industry now is quite different, isn't it?
I'm thinking what you call operating.
Well, I think buying, you're competing now. When there were just jewellers looking for these great stones, now you're competing with fashion brands.
A bit. The fashion brands at the moment do a lot of semi-precious.
So they're really focusing on the semi-precious market.
Well, it's not the semi-precious prices. It's to very expensive prices. It's still the people like Van Cleef and Bulgari who have the old style, the old stones, which I think are still very, very much prominent in this market.
And why do you think all the fashion brands want to have now a jewellery collection within what they offer?
You have to ask them, not me. I wouldn't know.
And then, of course, social media and Instagram and all of that has changed. Whereas back in the day, you know, you might have advertised in Vogue, and that was probably the only thing you did. And now, of course, there's this whole world on social media.
It is extremely helpful.
It's helpful.
Yes.
That's great. So how do you use it?
Well, if we put things on Instagram, we have people calling us and saying, how much is it? And some sales result.
Do they always come and see it? Or do sometimes they buy just from Instagram?
Well, in this price range, they have to see it. Mind you, we have clients who trust us and buy only from the Instagram, but it's not they buy from Instagram, they buy from us.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. So it's a helpful tool, and a helpful tool, I guess, if your stores are in London, to get you visible around the world.
Exactly. Well, we go to exhibitions as well. We go to the Middle East, we go to Qatar, we go to Abu Dhabi, we go to Saudi Arabia. We went to Courchevel. Unfortunately, we don't go to Courchevel now because of government restrictions, but we try to go wherever it's possible. Everybody else does.
So is that a major part in the planning, that you have to go where the others go to keep up, to get your name there with everybody else?
Yes, but we would go in any case.
And you did collaborate a few years ago with the designer Anna Hu.
Yes.
The Asian designer who lives in New York, who makes unbelievable jewels and huge brooches. Do you see yourself doing any more collaborations like that?
I'd love to. If she shows us some very interesting designs, we'll be very happy to do it.
And you particularly like working with Anna?
She's a very nice lady.
She is, isn't she?
Yes.
And extraordinary. She has her whole musical background. Makes it very interesting.
Well, she loves music, she loves sport.
And did all those pieces sell?
Well, we made a few pieces and some of them sold.
So what do you see the biggest market now for jewellery? Is it the Middle East or is it America?
Well, America is a very big market, but unfortunately not for us. For us, we are more familiar with the Middle East and India and the Far East, of course. And the Far East is buying more for investment also. Less for occasions, more for investment.
So do you notice what people are wearing? What do you think people want to wear now? Are they wearing big parures? Are they looking for brooches? There's such a sort of brooch thing at the moment.
I think brooches are very much in demand now, yes, they are. And of course it's the single stone rings.
As an addition to engagement rings?
Yes. Large earrings, bangles.
Sort of everything.
Yes. Almost everything.
I always remember, actually, apart from all your amazing grand parures, you do those lovely little briolette diamond long necklaces.
Well, everybody else does these. We're not special in it now.
But they're beautiful, they're lovely. And they fit with everything, and for young girls.
And the price point is saleable.
And I saw that Chloe on the runways this season are doing the boho look again. And I think they're just perfect with that look.
Yes.
They're special diamonds, but nobody really knows what they are. They have this sense of mystery, really, don't they? It's not like I'm wearing something expensive.
Well, you see, it's the new cuts which come into it because every day somebody changes in a new cut. And that, of course, is very popular. People want something new.
So what cuts do you favour for those?
Well, I go more for the traditional cuts, pear shapes and marquises, but it's all these trapeze cuts. They call them bullet cuts. For instance, this one is the bracelet is in the special
This
cut.
is a lovely dark pink sapphire and diamond bracelet, which I'll put on so everyone
cut,
can see.
Special cut.
And what is that called, that cut? It's hard to describe.
Yes.
Because it sort of looks triangular at first, but it's not.
Well, it's different.
And it's got sides, quite deep sides.
Exactly.
So does it have a name?
Well, I think we have to christen it.
We'll have to christen it, okay. It's beautiful. And then you've got the sort of yellow gold in the centre of the pink sapphires, which is so effective.
That's to show more of the pink sapphire, to show the colour.
It's gorgeous. It's very effective. They look like maybe the buttons of a Maharaja. So, spanning this history, how do you keep a business going all those years? Would you have any tips for people who are listening about how you run a business, keep it going, keep up to date? Look at you at your age saying, I love Instagram and social media is very helpful. You keeping up.
No, but you've got to live in it. That's what it is. You've got to live jewellery, to sleep jewellery, to dream jewellery. You've got to wake up in the morning and say, let me call Hong Kong. They're up now. And let's see what is going on there. And wait till they call you from New York.
So you have to be 100% committed.
Exactly. And if not, go somewhere else.
And then if you're committed, how do you build your business? Do you think now people should have stores?
Very few will survive.
So what should they do?
Do something else. They don't have to be in the jewellery trade.
Do you think they could start a jewellery store on Instagram?
No. You see, to start a jewellery, you've got to have the connections. You've got the connections in the trade which you build over the years. And even if you're as big as those fashion brands, would they know exactly what they have to buy? I'm not sure. Of course, they have the strength to borrow because they have the financial strength behind it. But whatever you borrow never comes out the same as what you own.
So it's hard for people to get going now because they can't do it in a traditional way, like opening a store.
I think so, yes.
Mm-hmm. And you have done it also by having loyal customers. Do they stick with you over the years?
Yes. And not only loyal customers, but also loyal suppliers.
So you have to be absolutely 100% open with them.
Yes.
So it's sort of trust both ways.
It all goes about trust. In the jewellery trade, it goes about trust and reputation.
And you have your 160-year reputation behind you.
Thank you.
But Mrs. Moussaieff, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I'm going to now, if you allow me, take some pictures of some of these incredible things so we can run it on social media and show people as they listen to you. And what is your top pick here that you think? We've talked about that, the lovely pink and diamond bracelet. Is there something else here that you think is hot from the workshop and you want us to
this is
look
hot
at?
From the workshop, but I'm not sure that a lot of people would know what we're talking about. So let's show them some diamonds.
What, the emeralds? You don't think they'd know the emeralds?
Yeah, but you see, these are very, very fine emeralds, cabochons. This is a rare pink sapphire.
That's amazing. So this is one of the single stone rings you were talking about?
No, this is...
Because this is so big.
It's fashion, fashion, fashion. And here there is no fashion.
This is amazing. How many carats is that, Mrs. Moussaieff?
It's over 40 carats.
40 carats. I'm going to have to take a picture. It fits me perfectly. Literally, it's like it's made for me. I'm going to take a picture of that and show everybody. It's absolutely beautiful.
This is our classic, but it's obviously for the people who want something very expensive.
Marquise diamonds all the way around, a lovely weighty cuff with pink diamond accents.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so fluid, even though it's a cuff. It looks like a sort of shining, sparkling fabric.
Yes.
It's absolutely beautiful and a huge look for a small wrist. And at the back, I love the clasp, which is just set with little pink diamonds at the back. That's beautiful. You could wear it either way round.
Yes, of course you could. It's your size, it's my size. Yeah. But I really didn't bring anything which I thought is sort of very much for the public.
No, it's beautiful. We'll take pictures, we'll get them up now. So, Mrs. Moussaieff, thank you very much for hosting me this morning.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. For this and other episodes of If Jewels Could Talk, please go to our website, carolwoolton.com. Do share the podcast any way you can, and we love to have a rating and a comment. And wherever I go, I love it that I meet groups who actually listen to the podcast together, whether they're in an auction house or they make a coffee at home. And I just love the community feel of If Jewels Could Talk. So if you have stories like that, do share it with us. Don't forget, the book of the podcast is out, If Jewels Could Talk, on Amazon and any good bookstores. And join me again in 2 weeks for the next Jewelled Nugget, when I'll be talking with Emma Rutherford, who is a specialist in portraiture, particularly miniatures from the 1520s to the 1870s. So we'll be talking portrait jewels, and it's a fascinating story. So join me then, and thank you for listening. Bye-bye. If Jewels Could Talk with Carol Woolton is produced by Natasha Cowan, music and editing by Tim Thornton, graphics by Scott Bentley, illustration by Jordi Labanda.